right, good morning, everybody. Welcome to Hard Money Mondays. I'm Brian Athey, the host, and I'm here with the Mathis Twins, who I have the honor and privilege of knowing through a good friend of ours, Beth Lensner, who's a great person and connector. She's been a bit of a mentor to them and certainly helped me along the way. So thank you, Beth, for introducing me to these guys. If you guys could do us a favor and talk about your background and how you got into real estate development. The Mathis twins develop real estate. They do some wholesaling, but they're heavily engaged, young, successful men who are building a real career in real estate. So I wanted to hear from them. They're in Miami. Of course, I'm in Washington. So tell us about your background and how you got into the crazy world of real estate.
Like you said, well, first, thank you so much for having us on. It's an honor to be here and be able to present and talk to your audience. So thank you so much for having us. But the making the long story short, born and raised here in Miami, Florida. My mom was a single mother. My father was in prison from the time we were 5 to the time we were 22. So it was rough for us growing up, but my mom showed us the importance of working hard, work ethic, and just being around the right people. We had a prior to us starting the real estate company, we had a cleaning company, and we started that with one of our mentors. And within 18 months, we started and sold that business. Sold it because we didn't want to manage $10 an hour employees. So we said, hey, what can we do so where we can make good money, where we don't have to manage as many people?
Let me ask you a question. How old were you when you started that business, and how old were you when you sold it?
We were 20,
like 23. We were 23 when we started, like 25 when we sold it.
Where do you get your entrepreneurial bug from? Was your mother, what did she do?
No, so my mom, she works for the United States Postal Service. It's more so our dad.
But also, yeah, but no, I would say my mom, because we saw firsthand in that, she worked for the post office, but on the side, she had a nice hair business where she was able to do hair every single day. And then also growing up, we had my granddad who was a serial entrepreneur. And at the time, we didn't realize what he was doing, but we saw him, like we would go with him and pick up the money at his convenience store, pick up, like we would go to see him with his horses. So he had a multitude of businesses. And again, we didn't know what was going on, but now looking back, we realized that he was running business and doing what he needed to do to make money. So, but I think for us, it just really boils down to always wanting to make money and kind of control our destiny. I think both of us are just, we love the excitement of hustling and getting after it.
Yeah, no, I think that it helps a lot. Like my father was a first generation entrepreneur, and I remember seeing him, go to the office, on the weekends and go at night, etc. And it makes an impact on you that, like, if you work really hard, you can chart your own path. I also remember him coming to my events and being able to control his like calendar, what he's doing, right? And seeing friends whose parents work for the government up here in DC or otherwise that couldn't do that. What was your first entrepreneurial hustle? Like, what was the very first entrepreneurial thing you did when you were a kid? Anything?
I think we were like 8 or 9, and one of our neighbors, he hated getting up in the morning. So he was like, look, I'll pay you guys $2 to take my trash can out and $2 to bring it back in. So we started taking out his trash cans, and then one neighbor found out, then the next neighbor found out. So that was our first real entrepreneurial venture. It's like 8 or 9 at the time.
Yeah, mine was actually, I was a similar age, 7 or 8, and we lived on a golf course. And I used to go into the woods and find golf balls, and I would clean them, and I would resell them on the golf course. And I did this. I had a little business, and I would put all my golf balls out there. My sister would come and try to sell some lemonade with it. And then I got aggressive, and I went down onto the golf course by one of the ponds where, like, my thesis at 8 was they hit it in the water and need another golf ball, and I'll sell it to them there. And I was like printing money there until the greenskeeper would come with his little four-wheeler and chase me off, and I'd run into the you got to start somewhere, but like getting early good feedback like that, I think really helps, right?
No, definitely.
I think also just being able to push yourself out there. I think we as entrepreneurs, we discount that ability to do that, to put ourselves out there and not go after what we want and not be afraid to ask for money or to ask people to sponsor us on deals. So I think just being able to do that as a kid helps set you up for ultimate success in life.
Yeah. So when did you do your first real estate deal?
So let me just let everybody know, before we actually did a deal, we spent $70,000 in mentorship. So we betted on ourselves. We spent $70,000, And then we
using credit cards, because it wasn't our cash.
Using credit cards. And then we did our first deal, in
2016.
In 2016. It was a wholesale deal. We made $19,500.
You'll never forget the first one, there's no doubt, especially when it's successful. I always tell people the first deal needs to be one of your better ones because you got to get off to a good start or it ends, you know? So tell me about what you paid for the mentorship. I mean, you know, tell me, like, you know, what did you buy and was it worth doing?
The first one, no. So long story short, I heard it at this time. I knew we needed to get into something where we needed to make money because I was pregnant. I mean, I was not pregnant. I was expecting my first child. I heard an ad on the radio and I'm like, yo, we need to go do this. So the first class was free. Then the second class was like 200. Then the third class was like 1,500. And then they upsell you to the $50,000 package. And that first mentorship, it taught us the key thing that it taught us was, one, join your local RIA and get yourself a local mentor. Other than that, we didn't learn anything else. And long story short, we found out that they was in a lawsuit for scamming people. And then we got a local mentor who really transformed our thinking and helped us take off in real estate. So the first mentorship in total, we paid about 55 grand. Then the second one, he was a local guy.
Wait a second.
We paid him about
55 grand for something where you learned to join a local RIA, basically, right?
Yeah, very much.
Man, that's a tough lesson to learn, huh?
Yeah. But it was a good one though, and for me, I'm happy that we did it because it just made me believe in myself more. That I would always bet on myself, and I'm always willing to take risks. And I'm not encouraging anybody to go and do that, but that's our story, and I think it makes the story even better.
Well, it does make it better, right? Because, you know, the thing that I like best about it is you kept at it. Like, you knew you were onto something right, which was mentorship, and you just had to find the right vehicle, which, you know, in my experience, the one-on-one, or close to one-on-one mentorships are the best, you know, where you form deep relationships and people actually tell you the truth about, you know, what they've done and why they've done it. And, you know, I always tell people that, like, it's not about taking 100% of the opinions and wisdom from a mentor, but 80% is usually quite helpful, right? And leaving some of that, the rest of it behind because it's not right for you.
Right.
You know, so once you did that, you did the wholesale deal where you made 19,500 or so.
Yeah. And at the time, one thing we left out was we got started in real estate while we were in the process of selling the business, the cleaning business. We knew we wanted out, and we put the business on the market with a business broker. So as we were getting started in our real estate journey, we were focusing 100% of our time to the real estate business because the cleaning business was on autopilot. Once we did our first deal, we told the business broker, look, you have a week to sell this business. If not, we're shutting it down. So he was able to find us a buyer for the business because we were motivated sellers.
Like very motivated.
Very motivated.
Once we got that first check, it became like real. Like we really wanted to get out. So when people say they can't find real estate deals, it's just, are you finding the right motivated seller? Because that buyer, he got a huge discount on our business because we were very motivated.
Totally. Yeah. A motivated seller is a good thing, right? And, you know,
a great thing.
Motivations come from all sorts of things. I mean, you know, sometimes people assume that somebody's a motivated seller because they're not knowledgeable or they don't understand value or they don't understand upside. Sometimes it's fatigue, frankly. You know, people are just tired of dealing with something, and fortunately for them, they don't have to have that business or that property anymore, or they have other ways to make a living, and they're like, I'm done. I don't want to do it. You know. I'm speaking from experience because I'm 46 now and I get fatigued and want to sell things. I got 3 little kids that are fatiguing me, and so, you know, you want to focus on the things that matter to you as you evolve, right?
No, definitely.
Correct.
So in terms of what now today, fast forward, so how many years have you been in the business?
5.
Okay, so you guys are how old?
30.
30, gotcha. All right, so talk about your evolution. So in the last 5 years, you know, what has sort of helped you evolve the most, and how do you think you have evolved?
I think for us, we've been very fortunate that, you know, just being action takers, the universe aligns with action takers. I truly believe that. Yeah. So year 1, we focused primarily on wholesale. Year 2, we tried to wholesale the deal, and because we couldn't make $25,000 on the deal, it forced us to rehab it. So year 2, we started focusing on more rehabs. Year 3, we started building our rental portfolio. Year 4, we did our first development project, and now in 5, we're figuring out how to make everything work together. Because right now we're in every facet of real estate except lending. So now we're just trying to build out a team, a much better team, to really be able to do everything that we want to do, which is continue to have different exit strategies.
Yeah. Multiple exit strategies is incredibly important. I mean, you've
No,
got to
definitely.
be prepared. When interest rates rise and the market cools, what are you going to do, right?
Well,
That's a big mistake that people make is they don't think about, multiple exit strategies and kind of what their rainy day plan is. Um, I think one thing that's probably helped you is all those books in the background, right? I see Elon.
Yeah. No.
I've read that book. I know we've talked about books in the past. Are you guys reading anything that you highly recommend right now to people listening?
Now, definitely this one right here, Who Not How. It's called Who Not How. And what the premise of this book is, we've been trained so long to think how, like, how can I do this? How can I do this? As opposed to who can do this for me? And when you figure out who can do it for you and you find the right person, you just collapse time and you make things go a little bit faster. So Who Not How is a great book.
and then for me, it's this one. It's called The Energy Bus. It's one of my favorite. It's one that I recommend the most. It's an easy read, but the key focus of the book is just making sure you have the right people on your bus. But us as entrepreneurs, making sure we have the right people on our team, people that that aligns with the vision, people that want to help you and the business go to the next level. So the Energy Bus is one that I would definitely recommend.
So does the energy bus talk about, like, the obvious question is the energy of other people and whether it aligns with your energy and that sort of thing or something? Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it's basically 10 rules that you should live your life and your business by. But yes, that is one of the rules, making sure that everybody aligns and your energy is the same. Because just think about it, we're all in business. If we have 5 people, 10 people on our team total, and 9 of us are going in this direction, and you have one that's veering off in the wrong direction, or that's just in bad energy for your team, it can do something. It can hurt you. It can hurt the culture. So I think that's very key and very important that you have the right people on your team. And basically everything that book talks about is key for any entrepreneur.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, I think it's similar to I don't know if you guys have read The Happiness Principle by Sean Archer. I think that's the name of the book, where he basically talks about, people who seek happiness before they focus on, their business or otherwise, are more successful in business, more successful in their relationships, sort of optimists. It's sort of Simon Sinek's, theory on optimism and how, what a positive impact it has on business, etc.
I'm gonna order it today.
Yeah, do it. I'm gonna order your book. What was the name of that title again?
Who Not How and
Yep,
The Energy Bus.
absolutely. Those are going to be on my list. Right now, I'm reading The Road Less Stupid, which is really good. I love the title, and it's a book that you should read slowly and really think about as you go. So you've talked some about mentorship and about paying for sort of coaching and mentorship. Do you guys pay for information now and mentorship, or do you do it in a more in a non-payment source? I was going to say in a more natural way, but I don't know what is and what isn't natural.
No, so we're firm believers of investing in yourself. The best investment you can make is an investment in yourself. So we're part of a few different masterminds that teach us different things that we want to learn or grow in.
So like just today, I'm buying a course for $5,000 just today actually, and it's going to help us in our business as we expand nationally. So here's a guy, he's been able to expand his flipping and wholesale operation across the nation, and he gives you a blueprint on how to do that. I can make $5,000 like this. The time that it'll take me to figure it out, it may be a couple of months. So now we take this principle of you can make more money, but you can't make more time. How do you collapse time? It's just finding the expert and paying them for their knowledge.
And it goes back to the book, Who Not How. I don't need to figure out how. I just need to know the who that can get it done or can teach me to do it.
Yeah, I mean, you hit on something important, which is time. A mentor of mine and very close friend, Steve Garchik, told me once, years and years ago, time is your most precious resource. And at the
Yeah.
time, I didn't fully understand it. And now, with 3 kids and multiple businesses, I definitely understand that. And anything you can do to have your time be, you know, when you can focus on major decisions and do the things that are of value to you, the better off you are, I think.
No, I definitely agree with that.
What is it like working with a twin, like your brother day to day? How's that?
You want the real answer or the good
Answer,
answer?
man.
Nah, nah. For me, like everything in life, it has its pros and its cons. The pro is he's my brother. I know him. I know his strengths and his weaknesses. And the biggest thing is trust. So I trust that him and I are doing. We have one goal in mind, and we're going down the same path. And that's something that's huge. And I never got to check I never have to check the bank account. I never have to worry about whether he's doing what he needs to do to make the business grow. Now the bad thing is he's my brother. So instead of having nice, pleasurable disagreement, sometimes they can get little brotherly love and they're like idiot and things that don't need to be said. But I think for us, we've been so blessed and that we've had great people in our lives that have taught us to make business and personal personal. So we can get into argument and literally an hour later be laughing at dinner and having a great time because we understand we understand the dynamic and we understand the balance of this is business and this is personal.
Yeah, I can agree with you. My sister works with me, and she does all things that touch money related to my businesses. And there are the great plus is trust. Someone you love and you trust, and you know that you don't have to look at the bank account, and they're reliable, and that they're on the same page and trying to really help you. And the minus is, she's one of the people that can hang up on me, and that's okay. You know what I mean? Sometimes I deserve to be hung up on, and others just won't do it, right? But that's okay because it's really fun to be able to have a business with a sibling, and be able to rely on them, and they rely on you.
Now,
So,
I definitely agree with that. Like having a business with a sibling is it's a cool thing. So
and I noticed you guys like socialize together and stuff. You were just telling me you're going to travel to, you're going to do a trip with your buddies, in late March, I think. And so
yeah.
it's not gotten to the point where it's, you see so much of each other during the day that you're tired and don't want to spend time with each other. Is that the deal?
Well, I wouldn't say that's not true because I mean, you think about it, we spend more time together than we spend with anybody else. I spend more time with him than I spend with my kids. So, after hours, and I'm pretty sure he feels the same way. Like, don't call me, don't talk to me, don't bother me.
Unless it's an emergency.
Unless it's an emergency or if it's something that a decision that needs to be made right now. But as far as socializing together, we have the same group of friends. And the reason that is because we're like-minded and our friends are like-minded. We're all trying to grow. We're all trying to change the world. We're all trying to do bigger and better things. So yeah, that's why we spend a lot of time together if it's going out and socializing.
Yeah, exactly. No, that makes sense. So what's one thing you're working on right now that really excites you? Like, what's one project or one concept or one thing?
Well, for me, he probably say Airbnb, but for me, it's just the development opportunity. We just finished our first development and just seeing the numbers behind that and how all of that works and the return that you get when you build it and you keep it. That's something that I'm very, very excited about. We have one in the works now, and I'm trying to find more where we can build to rent and keep them.
Yeah.
For me, I'm excited about that. But like he said, we're doing our first few Airbnbs. This year we have one that we're finished and we just need to get it, furnished and put it on Airbnb and have it go live. And then we have two more, one that we just closed on and one we're closing on next week that we're going to renovate and put on Airbnb. So for us, it's new. So it's a little scary in the aspect, like we really don't know what we're doing, but we do have the right people around us and the right friends and mentors that's going to help guide us to help us be successful when it comes to the Airbnb of real estate as well.
But this is one thing that I was always tell people to be open to, because when we first started, I didn't see us developing. I didn't see us doing Airbnbs. We actually used to be opposed to Airbnbs. But surrounding yourself with the right people that are willing and they share is crucial, because once we start seeing the numbers behind Airbnb, it's like, wow, dealing with rental properties is a headache and you make a good amount of money, but Airbnbs can be the same headache and you just make 2, 3, 4 times what you would make on a long-term rental.
Yeah,
So
the key to Airbnbs, I have one is management. You have to have somebody who's incredibly responsive. You got to make sure that place is immaculate and in good order every time. And I think that business is a great business because I don't think that hotels provide people the value that they should, and I think Airbnbs can provide more value. For similar pricing, and for like a family to rent. I have 3 little kids. what are you going to do? Rent 2 hotel rooms, and then you don't have any real space. You could rent an Airbnb for less money or the same money, but actually have space to spread out.
Correct. Correct.
By the way, if you guys need a partner in your Airbnb stuff, call me. I love Airbnb. So I'm down.
Now we definitely should talk, because for us, we actually passed on the opportunity just because of certain financing, but that's something that we definitely want to do more of. We want to kind of build out a model and to prove a concept. Everything we've done from wholesale, fixing, flipping, development, we've always been able to prove ourselves before we take outside capital, because taking outside capital is we treat that better than we treat our own money.
Yeah.
So for us, we want to at least give some proof of concept. That way we can put some case studies together. And when we come to anybody, it's like, hey, here's our experience. Here's what we've done. Here's why you should trust us with your money.
Yeah, absolutely. Are you how are you guys financing your deals today?
Essentially hard money. It's a lot of private people, but it's structured like hard money. And we're very fortunate in that, our terms right now is just 12% and 2 points. However, the most interesting thing is that we get 100% financing, and we don't have to make monthly interest payments.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
is
that's a good deal. Most hard money lenders like us are focused on loan to ARV, and but yeah, not making interest payments is obviously helpful. And I mean, that the fact that you're getting 100% of capital, and even if the rate's a little higher than, like, say, if you borrowed from me around here,
yeah.
getting 100% of capital is really valuable, right?
It allows us to do more projects and not have to be concerned with cash flow. Because if
Yeah.
you're making monthly payments every month, that's that. And depending on the volume that you're doing, you can have a lot of cash going out the door.
Well, let me correct him, because I'm the one that deals with the money. It's not 2 and 12 on every deal. It's 2 points. It's 1 to 2 points, and then it's anywhere from 8 to 12% interest, depending on who we're borrowing from, and depending, what the higher the risk is. So the higher the ARV is of the property, obviously the more interest that we're going to pay. But if it's a deal where it's worth 500 and we're buying it at 200, we're borrowing that money at 8%, and maybe a point and a half.
Yeah, no, hard money is a great vehicle to help people scale,
Right.
and grow. And
Yeah.
have you guys transitioned to local banks yet, or is that sort of the next frontier?
That's the next frontier. I actually had a conversation with a bank that just a community bank that just launched they launched 2 weeks ago. So we're just trying to figure out, how to build those relationships and how to take it to the next level. Because when we refinance, we're using the Wall Street money, that the debt service coverage ratio lenders. So we understand that, the community banks is better debt, and is something that we need to do long term. So we're actively trying to develop those relationships now.
Yeah, my recommendation is always try to find 3 local community bank lenders, and if you're going to do any real volume, you should always have kind of 3 that you're dealing with, and form good relationships that are built on mutual trust, and that when they know that you'll execute. You made a comment about execution earlier that made me think of something I say a lot, which is, everybody has ideas, but it's not about ideas, it's about action. You got to be
Yep.
able to put ideas into action. But once you show those local lenders that you're about action and about results, they'll get behind you. All right, so our time's about up. I really appreciate the time I've spent with you. There's one thing you want to tell everybody about what to focus on in their own development of sort of their own progress. For each of you, what would it be? One parting shot.
Oh, for me, I say this all the time. You're not a product of your environment, but you're a product of your thoughts. So, it doesn't matter where you come from. It doesn't matter who you are. As long as you have the mindset, you can get to wherever you're trying to get to.
What I would say is run your own race. Don't try to compare where you are to somebody else that's been doing this for the longest. I think we live in a world where it's easy to compare because of social media, and people can go on and they see our success, they see your success, and they're like, I want to get there. I want to get there overnight. And people don't understand that you've been doing this a couple of years. We've been doing this a couple of years. We've had a lot of major hiccups that got us to that point. So I would just highly encourage people, please run your own race and focus on what you have to do and not what other people are doing. Don't compare yourself to anyone.
Yeah, those are great points. I always tell people I don't compete with others. I compete with myself every day,
Yep.
and I just try to do a little bit better. And I tell my kids this and my friends, but to me, it's all about progress. Progress is my favorite word. Let's all just try to make progress. Nobody's perfect. But you guys are definitely on the right track. I've loved spending time with you. Thank you for the time. I'll see you soon in warm South Florida.
All right,
See you
thank
soon.
you.
Thank you, Brian. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.